Did you know that 1 billion people in the world are currently barred from access to the gospel and from living the abundant life God has for them? But you have the power to change that. Around the world, people living with disabilities are denied access to basic services like education, healthcare, buildings, employment, and even the church. At Accessible Hope International, we seek to change that by equipping followers of Jesus to open doors of access so that people with disabilities can flourish. So, what does access look like? Meet Veronica. Veronica contracted polio as a young child, leaving her legs paralyzed. Her family had tried to find a cure, but eventually, when that didn't work, they put her out of their home, believing she had brought a curse on them. Veronica's life was very hard. She had to beg for food. She was sexually exploited and abused. She was isolated and alone. Providing for herself became even more difficult when she became pregnant and had more mouths to feed. Now meet Samuel, a local pastor, and his wife, Esther. They recently went through a theology of disability training held by one of Accessible Hope's partner ministries. Their eyes were opened to new ways of thinking about people with disabilities. They started to talk with their church about being more loving and inclusive. One day, they met Veronica as she was begging. They invited her and her children to their church on Sunday. At first, Veronica wasn't sure. Veronica had never been to church. She had been told that God was angry with her and cursed her with her disability, so she was afraid. But Samuel and Esther had been so kind. Veronica decided to go to church, but the stairs were a problem for her wheelchair. Pastor Samuel promised her they would build a ramp, but for the moment, he found several men to help lift her and her chair into the church. Veronica enjoyed the service, and Esther sat with her, helping her feel welcome. After church, Pastor Samuel and Esther invited Veronica to their home for lunch. Her children had a full meal for the first time in many days. Veronica was so surprised by the love and acceptance she found at Pastor Samuel's church. She continued attending, and her journey of transformation began. Church members helped her find resources for skills training, and she was able to provide for her children for the first time ever. This is what happens when people learn to be inclusive and love every person made in the image of God. Learn more about how you can be part of making hope accessible for people like Veronica by visiting www.accessiblehope.org.